All right, so this is phase one of just a general hip and hamstring mobilizing, strengthening routine focused on alleviating kind of a broad spectrum of low back, hip, knee, and ankle pains through the methods of strengthening hips and hamstrings. So we're going to start with, and again, this will be phase one, so this will be about 3 or 4 weeks, kind of your choice, depending on how well you think you adhered and what your timeline is. First thing we're going to do is called a Cobbler Stretch. 30 seconds here. You're going to lay back, put the bottoms of your feet together, pull them in, and just relax and bounce for 30 seconds here. Your feet may want to kind of slide out, so if you can get rubbery shoes on or push them up against a wall or something to keep your feet in. 30 seconds here. Nice, comfortable bouncing. Then you're going to go same position on your back, spread your feet. Now they're going to be flat planted on the ground. We're going to do what's called a supine, which means laying on your back. Internal rotation of the hip. So feet are going to spread a little bit, not hip width, but spread out. And you'll see how far you need to spread them once you start. You're going to push one knee down toward the ground. The other knee can pivot a little, but not much. I'm going to drive that knee down towards the ground, push, 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 and then switch sides. You can go back and forth, 6 on each side. Really take a few seconds there at the end to push that hip in. 6 on each side there, and then you're going to go up to your feet. We're going to do a single leg rotation. So up on one foot, it can be as high or as low as you want it. The grounded side, we want to rotate that hip. We want to have that do all the work here. So your whole torso is kind of moving in unison together. Shoulders, knee, everything moving together to open that grounded hip and then close it. So actually overturning on the way back and opening up. Okay? So I'm kind of using my knee and toe to help me track where I'm at. You don't actually have to do any specific movements with them, but fight for the balance on this one. Both sides, 6 each way. Open up nice and close all the way in. 2 or 3 rounds of those 3, and then you move on to the next group, which starts with a Miniband Clamshell. So a Miniband goes around the knees. I like to go just above the knees. Some people like to go just below. Up to you. Lay on your side, heel on heel, knees bent, and you want to have your hips pretty much forward. Keep the knee that's towards the ground, keep it on the ground, and then stretch that band open, using the heels as a point to pivot. Nice and controlled, go 12 on each side. So then you'll flip over, do it on the other side. Then you're gonna take that band off, get a towel, more like a bath towel size so that it can create some thickness, fold it up, roll it up, lay back down on your back. You're gonna put that between your knees. And you're gonna squeeze it ideally as hard as you can, but when you're starting out, you may need to kind of ease off of that a little bit. Feet will need to be together. 4-second squeeze. Big, hard engagement there. And then relax. Take a moment in between. Put that tension into the towel. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. And relax. So 4-second squeezes, 6 of them. After you've done both the Miniband Clamshell and the towel squeezes, you're back up on your feet. You're going to do a good morning or a bodyweight hinge. So the idea here is that we unlock the knees, push the hips up and back, keeping your spine nice and neutral. Looking for a big hamstring stretch here. You'll be doing it wrong and you'll lose the hamstring stretch if you bend the knees too much or if you begin to round the back. So from that starting position, soften the knees, push the hips up and back, keeping the spine neutral. And note that I'm not leaning forward, where I'm going to go up on my toes, but I'm pushing my hips back. So spend about 4 seconds getting into and enjoying that stretch for 6 reps. You can do whatever you want with your hands. I tend to just kind of T-Rex them out in front of me. So 2 or 3 rounds of those 3. Then you're back down on the ground for a side lying leg lift. So almost the same position we set up for the clamshell, but now we're gonna go feet out straight. Keep that hip pointed up so that it's not rocking forward or backward too much. You're going to lift one straight leg, keep the toes pointed slightly down, so you're kind of leading with the heel. Drive that up towards the ceiling and back down. And again, as that goes up, you want to make sure you're not rocking back too much to accommodate. Fight to keep that hip forward so that the right musculature is lifting. You may feel pretty quick like you're hitting a wall. Try and push through that wall just a little bit, 10 on each side. When those are done, you're going to roll right onto your back, and we're going to do a single leg glute bridge. So for the single leg glute bridge, you'll probably need to move your foot into the center slightly. Other foot comes off the ground. It can be slightly off the ground. You can extend it up, pull the knee in, whatever you want. For me, as long as it's off the ground, you're good to go. The foot that's grounded, you're going to drive that heel especially into the ground, push the hips up as high as they can go. So make sure you're not just stopping here, but you're really driving up high and back down. 8 reps, squeeze at the top for a good full second, just to make sure you're there. 8 on each side. Then you're going to switch right into a stiff-legged glute bridge. So for the stiff leg, you're going to walk your feet out a lot further than you had for the glute bridge. Bridge up from there, hold it for 4 seconds, relax, 6 total reps. So it's the same idea, now we're 2-legged instead of 1. Nice 4-second hold there, and relax. Progress this as you feel comfortable. So if that wasn't a big challenge, you can walk your feet out even more, bridge up from there, hold that, and relax. And you could pretty much go to a straight leg position as long as you're able to bridge enough to get your hips up off the ground for that 4-second hold, and then relax back down. So 4 seconds, 6 reps on the stiff leg glute bridge, 2 or 3 rounds of those 3. Then we're going to stand back up and do a calf raise. So you could do this flat on the ground, or you could find something like a step stool, a big book. If you have a really secure book, it's probably not the best, but something like a stool or any kind of ledge, a stair would be great. Something that you're able to drape your heel over the back and get a good stretch out of the calf. Ideally also, if you're on the stairs, you have something like a handrail or a wall to provide a little bit of balance, so you don't have to do it freestanding like I am. But you go up on the edge of that pad. A lot of people do just kind of tiptoes. I don't think that's as good for the balance and kind of focus of the movement. So go the whole ball of your foot. Kind of get the arch of your foot on the edge. And for that calf raise, you're going to let your heels drop down towards the ground as deep as you're comfortable to stretch them. So on this pad, my heels hit the ground, but if I was on a stair, I'd probably be able to pivot even further down, let your toes come up, get that big ankle stretch, and then a nice controlled squeeze. Whoop, don't lose your balance. A nice controlled squeeze up at the top, big stretch at the bottom, big squeeze at the top. Go for 12 there. If that's a little too challenging to do 12, because with that big stretch and that big squeeze, 12 could be a bit of a challenge. You can start 6, 8, 10, whatever works for you, and build your way up over time. After we do those 12 for the calf raise, we go to the front of the leg, the tibialis, and we're going to curl our toes up. So the simplest version is flat ground, and you could literally, as long as you can keep your balance, which again, holding on to something could help, just curl your toes up, and I actually need some balance for this one, so I'd put my hand on something, but you curl your toes up as hard as you're able, and relax down. Squeeze, fight, and you'll feel the front of your shin kind of tighten up a little bit. You could also do this, again, probably best to do it with balance, where your toes are actually off the edge of a ledge, so that you can get a little more pre-stretch, and then squeeze into that tibialis. The other flat ground version is where you could lean up against a wall, walk your feet out a little bit, pull your toes up that way, so now you actually have a little bit more weight and pre-stretch directly on the tibialis there for 12. And then the final progression pretty much would be combining all of those factors together, where you're leaned on the wall with a ledge, big toe stretch, big curl, upward, push, and stretch. So 12 of those. Then we're going to go into a lateral step down. At this point in our program, in phase 1, we want to keep that lateral step pretty shallow. This is really, really shallow, but it depends where you're at. You could have something that's maybe mid-shin, whatever works for you, to be in very good control to move with intention and caution. So this is a little bit low, but I'll still use it as my demonstration for the lateral step down. Lateral step down just means we're coming off sideways from our step, and I want you to control all the way to the ground, toes up the whole time. So straight leg, toes up. My heel is going to be the first thing that touches the ground. When I leave the ground, my heel is going to be the only thing still touching it. So I don't want any toe push off the ground. I want heel contact. Heel's the only thing. So no help from the toes on the way up or the way down. If the box gets too high, you will inevitably have to put your toe down to help lower yourself, or you'll need to launch with your toe to come up, and that means your box is too high for right now. So we want the box leg to be doing all the work. You're fighting to keep that knee nice and stable. Do all the work with that quad. Toe up, little tap, and a nice controlled ascension on the second half there. So you can go 8 reps on each side and do 2 or 3 rounds of those 3. And we'll do that 3 days a week at least. And you could probably do it 4, 5, or 6, depending on if it's making you sore or not. And we'll run that program for 3 to 4 weeks as a phase 1. And then phase 2 and 3 will get a little bit more progressively into bigger ranges of motion or more aggressive strengthening techniques. Aggressive is not the right word, but more intense, more challenging strengthening exercises.